In the human excretory system, pair of kidneys, one pair of ureters, urinary bladder and urethra is present. So our kidneys are reddish brown, bean shaped structures. We can see in the diagram, these are bean shaped structures as we can see here. Okay, so they are your bean shaped structures and reddish brown in color and situated between the levels of last thoracic and third lumbar vertebra. Important. Where is the location of our kidneys? Kidneys are situated between the last thoracic and third lumbar vertebra. Last thoracic is your T12. T12 and third lumbar vertebra, that is L3. L3. Okay, so kidneys are situated. This is the exact location of kidney between the levels of last thoracic and third lumbar vertebra, close to the, and our kidneys are just close to the dorsal inner wall of the abdominal cavity. Dorsal inner wall of abdominal cavity. So each kidney of an adult human measures 10 to 12 centimeter 10 to 12 centimeter about in length and nearly 5 to 7 centimeter in width and 2 to 3 centimeter in thickness, with an average weight of 120 to 170 gram. This is the average weight of human kidney, 120 to 170 gram. Towards the center of the inner concave surface of kidney is a notch called as hilum. Important, there is a notch which is called as hilum. So hilum is present where? Sometime question is asked, hilum is present where? Towards the center of each concave surface of kidney. If we see in the kidney, so towards the center of each concave surface of kidney, there is a notch which is called as hilum, through this hilum only, ureter, blood vessels and nerves enter. Let's see the diagram of the human kidney. You can see here, there will be a notch which is called as hilum, and through that notch only these ureter, okay, and also, as I told you, blood vessels. So blood vessels will be here, artery and veins. Okay, so as we are discussing here, the kidney. So the artery associated with your kidney, that is your renal artery. So renal word we will use in case of kidney. Okay, so renal artery, you can see here renal artery, that is carrying what type of blood? Oxygenated blood. It is red. Okay, and blue colored, that is deoxygenated blood, that is by the renal vein. So these are your blood vessels which are going to enter here. Your ureter is shown, and other things in this diagram related to kidney. You can see there is a structure which is a renal pelvis. This is the renal pelvis. Okay, is diagram and image is clear?
Yeah, miss.
Okay, so you can see other structures also here. In the kidney, there are some pyramids which are called as these pyramids that I am going to show you. These pyramids, this pyramid, this pyramid. Okay, so these pyramids are there, and these are called as your medullary pyramids. These are called as medullary pyramids. These type of structures, they are called as medullary pyramids. Okay, and renal column is there. Now where is your renal column? See, these are your medullary pyramid. This is one medullary pyramid, this is another, this is third medullary pyramid. So between these medullary pyramid, there is a renal column, as you can see here. Between these medullary pyramid, there is a renal column. Okay, so
Mhm.
outside kidney is covered by the capsule which is called as renal capsule, and and towards the inner side there is cortex, and after cortex area there is a medullary area, and in the medullary area only these pyramid like structures are present. That's why they are called as our medullary pyramids. These are called as the medullary pyramids. There is a structure which is the calyx that you can see here. So in the structure of kidney, in the atlas or in the longitudinal section of kidney, we can see these structures. Medullary pyramids we can see. Between the medullary pyramid there is the renal column, we can see. There are the blood vessels which are your renal artery, renal vein, and renal pelvis has been shown here, and ureter has been shown here. Okay, and there is a covering outside the kidney which is called as the renal capsule, which is called as renal capsule. Okay, so let's see here. We were discussing towards the center of inner concave surface of the kidney, there is a notch which is called as the hilum, through which the ureter, blood vessels and nerves enter. Inner to the hilum. Now, inner to the hilum, there is a broad funnel shaped space which is called as the renal pelvis. See here. There will be a notch here which is called as the hilum, and through this hilum only these blood vessels and ureters they enter. But if I am moving inner to this, if I am moving inner to this hilum, then there is the renal pelvis. There is a funnel shaped renal pelvis, as I have told you. Here there will be this structure, these all brown colored, this is your renal pelvis. So funnel shaped renal pelvis is here. So with projections, means this renal pelvis is having some projections, and those projections we call them as the calyces. Those projections we call them as the calyces. Okay, so inner to the hilum there is a broad shaped space which is called as renal pelvis, and it is having some projections, and those projections are called as calyces. You can see here calyces is a plural word. Calyx I am saying to one, and calyces I am saying for a plural word. Okay, so calyces, some calyces are there, you can see here. Okay, in this diagram, some projections I mean to say. So the outer layer of the kidney is a tough capsule, I told you already, which we call as the renal capsule, which is we call as the renal capsule. So outer layer of the kidney is a tough capsule. So as it is present in case of kidney, so we will call it as the renal capsule. So inside the kidney there are two zones. Two zones are present inside the kidney. There is a outer cortex, as I told you, and there is the inner medulla. Meghna, clear up to this? Each and every point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So medulla is divided into a few conical masses, as I told you already, which are medullary pyramids, and they are projecting into the calyces. Calyces, that is a plural term, and calyx is a singular term. The cortex extends in between the medullary pyramids as the renal columns, as I told you. Between medullary pyramids there is a renal column, and those columns, there is a special name given to those columns that we discussed in the diagram. Between the medullary pyramids there are the renal columns, and which are called as the columns of Bertini. These are called as columns of Bertini. So each kidney has nearly 1 million complex tubular. Focus on this point. Sometimes they can confuse you. They can tell you, if I'm saying two kidneys, then nearly 2 million nephrons are there. Okay, means
Mhm.
each kidney is having. If I am saying for both, then for both it will be about 2 million. So each kidney has nearly 1 million complex tubular structures which are called as nephrons, and nephrons, they are the functional units of the kidney. So each nephron has the two parts. What are the two parts of each nephron? So two main parts of each nephron are your glomerulus, and second one is your renal tubule. Glomerulus and second one is our renal tubule. You can see in this figure, check here in the figure number 19.3, glomerulus, there is some tuft of capillaries or group of capillaries, you can see here with this red color. So this is the that I am highlighting with the green color. This is your glomerulus, this is the glomerulus. And apart from this, these tubular structures and all, they are present, these are the renal tubule. So main two parts of your nephron, they are your glomerulus and the renal tubule. Now Glomerulus is a tuft of capillaries. Tuft of capillaries means group of capillaries, as we have seen in the diagram, and formed by the efferent arteriole. Our glomerulus is formed by the efferent arteriole, a fine branch of renal artery. Now, if I am saying arteriole, arteriole means they are some like smaller than arteries. Okay, small artery. We will call it as the arteriole. Okay, so basically, what is there? Glomerulus is a tuft of capillaries which is formed by the afferent arteriole. This afferent arteriole we can also see in the diagram. Afferent arteriole we can also see in the diagram, and it is the fine branch of renal artery that I told you. It is the fine branch of renal artery. So blood from the glomerulus is carried away by an efferent arteriole. Blood from the glomerulus is carried away by efferent arteriole. So means in short I can say that there are the two arteries here. One is the afferent arteriole and another one is our efferent arteriole. Okay. So one is the, you can keep in mind efferent. So from efferent you can keep in mind exit. Okay, so there is a artery, there is a smaller artery which is carrying away blood. So that is the efferent arteriole, and there is one which is bringing the blood. So which is bringing the blood? That is the afferent, and efferent is the blood from the glomerulus is carried away by the efferent arteriole. So the renal tubule begins with a double-walled cup-like structure called as the Bowman's capsule, which encloses the glomerulus. So if we carefully see in this diagram, have you also studied a structure of nephron in the previous classes?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so I think you are aware of this thing that there is a cup-like structure here, which is the
Yeah,
Bowman's capsule,
Bowman.
and in this Bowman's capsule only glomerulus is present. In this cup-like
Mm-hmm.
structure, our glomerulus is present. So, which is written here. Now, as I told you that there are two main parts or two main structures in our nephron. First one is our glomerulus. Second one is our renal tubule. So, our renal tubule that begins with a double-walled cup-like structure called as the Bowman's capsule, which encloses the glomerulus. So glomerulus along with the Bowman's capsule is called as the Malpighian body. See, there is a, in the diagram there is a Bowman's capsule. Inside the Bowman's capsule there is a glomerulus. So we will collectively give a term to these two structures in combination. When I'm saying glomerulus plus Bowman's capsule, so I will call it as the Malpighian body. Malpighian body, or its another name is renal corpuscle. Renal corpuscle. So the tubule means the renal tubule. You can see it continues further to form a highly coiled network which is called as the PCT. So after this there is a coiled structure which is forming. You can see PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. So proximal means near. Okay, it is just near to the Bowman's capsule. It is proximal convoluted tubule. Whereas second one you can see in this diagram, they say distal convoluted tubule. Distal means which is at a distance. Proximal means which is near. So which is near to the Bowman's capsule, that is the proximal convoluted tubule. And second one which is at a distance from the Bowman's capsule, that is the distal convoluted tubule. So these two type of structures, they are present here. So the renal tubule that continues further to form a highly coiled network which is the proximal convoluted tubule, and its short form is PCT. A hairpin shaped Henle's loop is the next part of the tubule. There is a structure which is shaped like hairpin shaped, which is called as the Henle's loop, is the next part of the tubule. Henle's loop is the next part of your tubule. So, and This is having the descending and ascending limb, which is having ascending and descending limb. So the understanding, Meghna, am I clearly audible?
Yeah, miss.
Okay. So ascending and descending limb, you can see in this diagram also two types of limb. This Hanley's loop is having, this is like this U-shaped structure. This is the Hanley's loop, and this is having two types of limbs. First is the descending limb, and second one is your ascending limb. Descending and
Oh,
ascending limb of loop of Hanley. The ascending limb continues as the another quiet tubular region called as the distal convoluted tubule or DCT. You can see in the diagram only, it further continues to form the DCT. See, this further
yeah.
continues, this ascending limb further, this is the ascending limb, it further continues, see, and it is forming this coiled structure. If word is like distal convoluted tubule, try to break these words. Distal means at a distance, it is from the distance far away from this Bowman's
Okay.
capsule. Okay, so convoluted means coiled. You can see in this diagram, are these structures coiled? Some this type of
Yeah.
coiling is there. Yeah, so convoluted tubule, so that's why they are called as distal convoluted tubule. Tubular coiled structures. So which limb continues to form DCT? Ascending limb, as we have clearly seen in the diagram. So the DCTs
Yeah.
of many nephrons open into a straight tube, and this straight tube is called as the collecting duct. Collecting duct, you can see in the diagram, DCTs of many nephrons, they are going to continue and they are forming this type of duct, which is called as the collecting duct, many of which converge and open into the renal pelvis, through which and many of which converge into the renal pelvis. Renal pelvis we already seen in the last diagram, through which medullary pyramids in the calyces, and medullary pyramids we also seen in the structure of kidney. Calyces we also seen in the some small projections which are called as calyces. So let's move further. The Malpighian corpuscle. What is the other name of Malpighian corpuscle? And what is
Renal
Malpighian corpuscle?
corpuscle.
And which two structures are making this?
The glomerulus and the Bowman's capsule.
Yeah, and it is also called as renal corpuscle or Malpighian body.
Mhm.
So the Malpighian corpuscle, PCT and DCT of nephron are situated in the cortical region of the kidney. Cortical region means in the cortex. Underline these
Yeah.
points that I have underlined here. The Malpighian corpuscle, PCT, DCT. And you question, these three structures we can see, that is Malpighian corpuscle, PCT, DCT. Malpighian corpuscle, PCT, DCT in the cortex region of the kidney, and loop of Henle in the medullary region. MCQ question. So in
So
majority, hmm,
Mrs. collecting duct in medulla as well.
collecting duct,
Yeah.
that we are going to discuss further in the next points. So in a majority
Okay.
of nephrons, this is important. What is the difference between, underlying these 2 points? Cortical nephron and juxtamedullary nephrons.
Okay.
So read this point. In majority of nephrons, the loop of Henle is too short and extends only very little into the medulla, and such nephrons are called as cortical nephrons. What are the cortical nephrons? If loop of Henle is short,
Too short.
yeah. So if it is too short, then it will extend very little into the medulla, and which is called as the cortical nephron. Whereas in some of nephrons, the loop of Henle is very long, and if it is very long, then it will run deep into the medulla. And if it will run deep into the medulla, then these nephrons are called as juxtamedullary nephrons. These are juxtamedullary nephrons.
Okay.
Clear up to this?
Yeah.
Take 5 minutes, revise up to this, and we will discuss 4 or 5 questions before proceeding related to
Okay.
this.
That's
Okay, let's start question discussion.
okay.
So our first question is, which of the following is the most toxic? This question is from the last class. Which of the following is the most toxic excretory product? Which of the following is the most toxic excretory product? Our options are CO2, ammonia, urea, or amino acid.
Ammonia.
Yeah, good. Ammonia is the most toxic. Next question. The notch present on the notch present on the inner medial side of kidney is known as options are ureter, B option is pelvis, C option is, and D option is pyramid.
Hilum.
Hilum, yeah, right. Hilum. Next question is from the thing that you were asking, so that question will also be clear to you after solving this question.
Okay.
So question is, collecting duct of nephron extends kidney from cortex to A option capsule region, B option medulla, is ureter. Yes, try to answer. That you were also asking this question.
Urethra.
What? Medulla?
Is it urethra?
Medulla. It is medulla. You were
Urethra?
saying medulla
Okay.
or ureter? Medulla. It is medulla, na?
Urethra.
Okay, it is medulla.
Okay.
Okay, so that question is also now clear to you. You're collecting that. Basically, if I was saying to you, your Malphigian body and your structures like PCT, DCT were there. They are present in the cortical region or in the cortex region. Okay, and whereas
Oh
your
yeah,
loop
then
of
it's
Henle,
pelvis.
hmm,
Then it's urethra. I
yeah,
forgot that pelvis exists.
okay. So, collecting duct of nephron extends kidney from cortex to medullary region.
Okay.
And medulla is the innermost part of the, means if I'm saying these all type of structures, see, capsule region or renal capsule is a fibrous layer that surrounds the kidney. Capsule region or renal capsule is a fibrous layer that surrounds the kidney, whereas medulla is the innermost part of the kidney, and hilum is a deep notch or cavity present in the medial portion of the kidney. And collecting ducts, we know that collecting ducts are the last part of the nephrons, and they extend from the cortex to the medulla in the kidneys. Is this clear?
Okay. Yeah.
So I think about cortical and juxtamedullary capsule, this is also clear to you. So let's move further to this paragraph. The efferent arteriole emerging from the glomerulus forms a capillary network around the renal tubule, which is called as the peritubular capillaries. Peri means, what do you mean by peritubular capillaries? Any idea?
I don't know.
Any idea by listening this word?
Mm, it's like at the ends of or something, like how we say peripheral nervous system. Is it like that?
They exist alongside parallel nephrons and surround them, means they are just parallel to your
Okay.
they are just parallel, means they are going to just surround it. Okay, so they are just parallel to your nephrons, and they are the small blood vessels present in the kidneys. They are small blood
Okay.
vessels present in the kidneys, and they arise from the efferent arterioles. See, try to focus on this thing. One is the afferent arteriole. Okay, so in this diagram you can see here, afferent arteriole is towards the inner side, whereas whereas efferent arteriole towards the outer side. Okay, this is the efferent arteriole. So peritubular capillaries, they also go into these capillaries, these red colored capillaries. They are also going to arise from the efferent arteriole only. Clear? Now, what is the function of our peritubular capillaries? So, peritubular capillaries, as I told you, they are the tiny blood vessels in our kidneys, and they deliver wastes to be secreted into the urine. They deliver the waste. They deliver wastes which are to be secreted in the urine.
Miss, what delivers the waste?
Peritubular capillaries.
Okay.
They are the small blood vessels I told you,
Mm-hmm.
and they arise from efferent arteriole, and they are present alongside nephrons, just parallel. So
Okay.
peritubular capillary is means, as the word itself indicate, peri means something is going to surround anything. So peritubular capillary is the network of capillaries which are surrounding renal tubules. Note this word, meaning of peritubular capillary, exact meaning in one line. Peritubular
Okay.
capillary is any of a network of capillaries surrounding the renal tubules. Surrounding the renal tubules. Renal tubules means these PCT, DCT.
Yeah.
So this is also mentioned in the NCRT in this point. The efferent arteriole emerging from the glomerulus forms a capillary network.
Yeah.
Okay, and efferent arteriole is emerging from the glomerulus. This also you have seen in the diagram. And it is
Yeah.
going to form a fine capillary network around the renal tubule, which is called as the peritubular capillary. A minute vessel of this network runs parallel to the Henle's loop, forming a forming a U-shaped vasa recta. Important. See, a minute vessel of this complete network. Which network? Network of peritubular capillaries. Okay. So a minute vessel of this complete network of peritubular capillaries that run parallel to the Henle's loop, and which is going to form the U-shaped vasa recta. Can you see in this diagram? This is the yellow shaped U-shaped structure, that is the Henle's loop. But
Yeah.
but can you see here red colored capillary network?
Mm.
Red colored capillary
Around.
network. Huh.
Yeah.
Which is just present here, and which is the vasa recta. So vasa recta, see, a minute vessel of this network runs parallel to the. Is vasa recta running just parallel to the Henle's loop? Yeah. So this is the
Yeah.
only thing that I was saying to you previously. That parallel thing. So complete network is the peritubular capillary. Focus on this thing. Complete network of those small blood vessels, that is the peritubular capillary. But in this also a minute vessel of this complete network that runs parallel. So which is going to run parallel? Which minute vessel of this complete network of peritubular capillaries which is going to run parallel? This is called as the Henle's loop, and which is going to form a U-shaped vasa recta. Any doubts?
No, miss.
Clear? Okay.
Yeah.
So vasa recta is absent or highly reduced in the cortical nephrons. So important. It is either absent or it is either highly reduced in the case of cortical nephrons. So
Okay.
let's see this diagram: Malpighian body or renal corpuscle. So what is the Malpighian body? Glomerulus along with,
It's Bowman's capsule.
yeah. So if I say between the efferent arteriole and efferent arteriole, see in this diagram which one is broader and which is narrow.
Uh, afferent is broader than efferent.
Hmm. So Malpighian body consists of this Malpighian capsule, and efferent arteriole is there, afferent arteriole is there, and after this which structure will open? Proximal convoluted tubule or PCT.
Mhm.
I will send you some questions, NCRT based questions of this part after class. You try to solve those questions also.
Okay.
Now let's discuss urine formation. Urine formation. So urine formation involves three main processes. What are three main processes there? Glomerular
Ul-
filtration. Yeah.
yeah.
Then
And selective resorption and tubular secretion.
so these are the three main steps in your urine formation.
Yes, glomerular filtration is just the same as ultrafiltration, right? That's
Yeah,
the.
yeah, yeah. Same. Ultrafiltration. So the first step in the urine formation is the filtration of blood, which is carried out by the glomerulus, and it is called as the glomerular filtration. Which artery is just doing this? So afferent arteriole is bringing the blood to the glomerulus. and
Yeah.
efferent is bringing it outside. So the first step in the urine formation is the filtration of blood, which is carried out by the glomerulus and which is called as the glomerular filtration. On an average, 1100 to 1200 ml of blood is filtered by the kidneys per minute. Important. How much ml?
Okay.
1100 to 1200 ml. Which constitute, now it constitute roughly 1 by 5th of the blood which is pumped by the each ventricle of the heart in a minute. So the glomerular capillary blood pressure causes filtration of blood. Glomerular capillaries blood pressure is obviously, well, this is going to cause the filtration of blood through three layers. So what are those three layers? The endothelium of the glomerulus, glomerular blood vessels, the epithelium of the Bowman's capsule, and a basement membrane between these two layers. So what are the three layers which are present here? First is the endothelium of what? Endothelium of the
Glomerular
Bowman's
blood.
capsule. Yeah, sorry, endothelium of glomerular blood vessels and epithelium of Bowman's capsule. So in this
Mhm.
diagram, see in this diagram, one leveling has been shown. Simple squamous epithelium. Simple squamous epithelium is present in case of your Bowman's capsule.
Okay.
Label this in your diagram. It is not given in NCRT.
Yeah. It is.
And label podocytes also there. We will discuss about this in the next paragraphs. And endothelium of blood vessels. Actually, blood vessels outer layer is called as the outer layer of blood vessels. That is the endothelium. So that's why.
Always no?
Yeah, endothelial always.
Okay.
So if anyone asks you that which cells they form a single layer that lines all blood vessels, then your answer will be endothelial cells. Okay, as layer is the endothelium, as I told you. So endothelium is the single layer of squamous endothelial cells. See, now what in case of in the tissues chapter we will study that squamous tissue is present in case of the blood vessels. Okay, so when I am saying endothelium, so endothelium is the, note this point also for your knowledge, I am writing here, the endothelium is a single layer of squamous, what type of tissue is there here, squamous type of tissue, that we will study later in the tissue chapter, so in the chapter number 7 of 11th. So the endothelium is a single layer of squamous endothelial cells that lines, so which is going to form the lining, endothelium, so that lines the interior surface of blood vessels. So I am giving you a simple example here. See, if this is my blood vessel, so lining, it is lined by endothelium. So this blue colored
Mm-hmm.
will be here endothelium. This is the a general funda in all the blood vessels, and also here also that we discussed. So basement membrane is present between these two layers. So the epithelial cells of Bowman's capsule called podocytes that you labeled just now.
Yeah.
The epithelial cells of Bowman's capsule called podocytes are arranged in an increased manner so as to leave some minute spaces called filtration slits or slit pores. So some minute spaces, these are called as the filtration slits or slit pores here. So blood is filtered so finely through these membranes that almost all the constituents of plasma except the proteins pass on to the lumen of the Bowman's capsule. Therefore, it is C. So, blood is filtered finely through these membranes. This thing is clear to us that almost all the constituents of the plasma we already discussed in the last chapter that our plasma consists of water, our plasma consists of some minerals, some ions also it consists of, proteins it also consists. Okay, so all the constituents of plasma, these are filtered except the proteins, except proteins, and those proteins they except proteins, remember. And so blood is filtered as I told you, okay, through these membranes that almost all the constituents of plasma except the proteins, and those proteins they pass on to the lumen of, they pass into the lumen of the Bowman's
Wow.
capsule, and therefore it is called as
Okay.
a C. So actually the all the constituents of plasma which are filtered, they pass on to the lumen of the Bowman's capsule except what? Except proteins. So can we call it as the deproteinized plasma or not?
Yeah.
So note it down, deproteinized plasma. Why? Because protein is not there. Okay, protein has been removed. So protein is not passing into the lumen of the Bowman's capsule. That's why we say except the proteins.
Okay.
So therefore it is considered as ultrafiltration.
Okay.
PCT, if we see separately PCT, so the PCT is like this type of structure which is shown here. So PCT, proximal convoluted tubule, and it is lined by, this is MCQ question, it is lined by, write separately in the NCERT. PCT is lined by simple cuboidal MCQ question. Simple cuboidal brush border epithelium. Simple cuboidal brush border epithelium with abundant microvilli and mitochondria. With abundant microvilli, micro small projections. These are microvilli and mitochondria. Actually, this is also given in the 19.3 heading of NCERT. First point, PCT. PCT is lined by simple cuboidal brush border epithelium which increases the surface area for
Okay.
reabsorption. Hmm.
Mhm.
So that's why, because here microvilli are present. So these microvilli only they are going to help in this thing for reabsorption. That's why 70 to 80% of electrolytes and water they are reabsorbed by PCT only. So this point also we discussed, the glomerular blood pressure causes filtration of the blood through three layers. through three membranes. In the NCRT, we also discussed that blood is filtered so finely through these membranes or layers: endothelium, epithelium, and basement membrane between these two.
Mhm.
You underline these all points that I underlined here.
Okay.
GFR. What is GFR?
Glomerular filtration
The
rate.
amount of filtrate formed by the kidneys per minute. And GFR in a healthy individual is approximately 125 ml per minute. That is approx 180 liters per day. And the kidneys have built-in mechanisms for the regulation of the glomerular filtration rate. One such efficient mechanism, okay, see this thing. One such efficient mechanism is carried out by JGA, important, juxtaglomerular apparatus. Juxtaglomerular apparatus. And this point is also very important. A fall in GFR, whenever there is a fall in GFR in our body, then it activates juxtaglomerular cells to secrete renin. Important. So renin is secreted by juxtaglomerular cells. So if juxtaglomerular cells, they release renin, so it will stimulate your GFR or your glomerular blood flow back to the normal, back to normal.
Okay.
So details about this we will discuss in next lecture. Before this, you try to read once up to 19.3 paragraph, functions of tubule. And also in the next lecture we will complete this chapter. So I will also share some questions to you. If I will forget, then you can remind me once. I will send you some questions which you can solve related to NCRT for this chapter. Okay, and next we will do later. Everything clear in today's lecture?
Yeah, miss.
Okay, then bye Meghna. That's all for today. Okay, take care.
Thank you, miss. Have a good day.
Okay.